have to go through the thinking process. That's the fundamental difference.
Are emotions the building blocks of feelings?
Yes, because feelings will start out as emotions. You can get the emotion of anger, and it may or may not force you to act on it immediately. It can force you to run to get to safety, but it can also just then become a feeling that you're processing with your thoughts.
Right now, in my own case, I have a feeling of helplessness. Like, it doesn't really matter what I do. And that's a very difficult thing. I've done this before. It's very difficult to contend with and to accept. I don't know where your methodology comes into play with something like that.
Well, where it comes in, I would say, is I learned a very interesting thing, which is that if people imagine their situation being different, if they imagine, let's say, a happy ending, if they imagine being powerful enough to turn the tides or change the situation that they're in, they start to feel better, and the feelings of hopelessness are more than happy to fade. So that's one of the things that I would say. I know that in the AIDS epidemic, we talked about this earlier.
Yes.
In the AIDS epidemic, where there was emotional abuse, people were being encouraged to do visualizations and to envision themselves in a better situation and to find some relief from that, so their health would be sustained. And they had some success in that.
During the AIDS crisis, one of the worst things, besides the illness itself, was society putting a mark on everyone that was ill, on everyone that associated with them, and all the negative connotations in the world. 2 newspapers here in New York City recommended concentration camps, having learned nothing from World War II when we put Japanese Americans in concentration camps whose great-grandfathers were born in San Francisco and they had never been to Japan. The family hadn't been to Japan since Admiral Parry, 150 years. And as I saw that with the AIDS crisis, and 2 newspapers in their editorials repeatedly calling for those measures. And it occurred to me, not being a very smart man, what about putting the people in hospitals and with doctors and trying to determine what the illness is and what causes it and what we can do about it. And here's these 2 newspapers putting out these edits. So I guess that had to impact the whole community, the whole society as a whole, and the community, that portion of the society engaged in actually giving care or suffering from that illness.
Well, I just want to say, funny enough, you saying that sort of confirms what I was saying about not always listening to what your feelings are saying, because I think what Anthony just described was a great sense and feeling of fear. And had people followed that and really gone with that, I mean, how awful could that whole situation have been? I think, at least I was brought up, and you have a very unique perspective, one that I'd like to think more about, because I really had not. But I was always told, especially as of late, to not let your feelings control decisions that you make.